Last time, we saw that Umesh's parents left for foreign trip, leaving Umesh alone at home. Meanwhile, Umesh and Siri was happy as both of them can enjoy dressing up and Usha can enjoy the female desire. Now the story continues. After a few weeks, one day when I and Siri were sitting in chatting, she suddenly asked me what opinion I had about her. I was pretty shocked to hear that question from her. I had never thought about it either. So after thinking for a bit, I told her that she was the first and only real friend that I had and I would trust her with my life. After listening to my answer, a little smile came on her face. I asked her why she asked me that question, and she replied, after the death of my parents, I just cut off from the world and the only thing that concerned me was my job, until I met you and got to know about you. You have become much more to me than a friend. You mean so much to me. I was honestly a bit confused listening to her answer. I also understood what she was trying to tell and was actually very happy about the way she felt about me. But still I said I didn't understand what she wanted to tell. She then simply said, Usha, I love you from the bottom of my heart and to the moon and back. I want to spend the rest of my life with you and only you. Listening to her proposing me, I was over the moon. I liked her very much. She was the only person that understood me and the only person that I could be myself with. After thinking for a while, I replied, Siri, I really like you as well, but I want to spend the rest of my life as Usha, as a woman. But you are searching for a man, Umesh, who almost dead and only Usha is left in me. Siri understood my dilemma and gave me a huge smile. She said, Oh my dear silly, I want to spend the rest of my life with you as Usha, not as Umesh. I want to marry you and make you my wife, make you mine. And ready to do anything for it. I was absolutely shocked and couldn't believe what I just heard. After realizing that she wasn't joking with me, I was so happy and was over the moon. Looking at my happy face, she knelt down and held out a red jewelry box which had a beautiful ring inside it. And asked me, Usha, will you please marry me and make me the most luckiest husband on the planet? With tears in my eyes and red cheeks, I said, yes. And as soon as I said yes, she stood up and we kissed. I don't know for how long we kissed, but that was the best feeling I had felt in my life since I started to dress up. That night, I decided to stay back with my future husband and we slept on the same bed next to each other. Both of us were wearing nighties, and Siri was spooling me from the back, which felt amazing, but more than that, a million thoughts were running through my mind about the future, our future. The next morning, both of us started planning for our wedding. The first thing was I had to be comfortable going out as a woman. The second thing were my documents. I needed my IDs in my new name and had no idea how to get it done. The third and the biggest thing was where would we stay after we got married and what I would tell my parents. Siri said she had sorted out the issue of my IDs. She suggested that we would move to another city, where her company had another branch. And she was hopeful of getting a transfer there very soon. Coming to the issue of my parents, Siri said, you could just write a letter to your parents and leave with me. We will move out of here before your parents come back from their tour. That seemed like the best option, since I wouldn't be taking my phone or the money that my parents had put into my account. The only thing I would be taking was a few of mother's clothes, and I guessed she wouldn't care about them anyway. So all the details were sorted and the only thing that was left was for me to go out and live my life as a woman. After days of planning, that day was finally here, the day I would step into the world as Usha. I was wearing a knot t-shirt and jeans, and was really both nervous and excited that I would be going out as a girl. We reached Siri's car and she drove us to the marketplace. We parked the car, and just before we got out, Siri held my hand and gave me an encouraging smile. I was dead nervous. I was absolutely sure that no one could ever imagine that I was a guy by looking at me, because I had completely transformed my body into that of a perfect woman. I had even grown my hair long enough that I didn't need a wig anymore, and also walked perfectly like a woman. Siri intentionally made us walk around for a while to make me comfortable with myself, and after walking around for a few minutes, I calmed down and became confident by started walking freely. I had done it. I overcame my biggest fear of going out into the world as a woman. We went to many shops and brought all the things I needed. At last, we went into a sari shop to buy new saris for our marriage and some for our new life together. I brought a cream silk sari with a golden border and red flowers on top of it for our marriage ceremony, and also brought a few more daily use saris for me. When I asked Siri why she wasn't buying any saris for herself, she whispered in my ears, "From now on, you will be the only one wearing saris, dear." I just smiled listening to what she said and blushed. After that day, we went out together many times to various places so that I get used to being in public, and after a few days I was completely comfortable. Soon it was our marriage day, and as per the tradition, we had planned the wedding at my home. We didn't invite anyone since I didn't have any friends, and Siri felt that none of her friends would understand us anyway. Somehow Siri had managed to arrange a priest who would conduct the wedding ceremony. The priest arrived and got busy in making the arrangements required. Both of us were helping the priest. After some time, Siri told me go and change, and said she would also get ready for our big day. So I went into my room and started to get ready. I did my makeup as he was an expert now, did a simple hairstyle and kept fresh jasmine flowers in my braid, and then wore the sari and the jewelry we brought. After I was done, I looked at myself in the mirror and looked beautiful. I was going to start a new chapter in my life. I was about to become a wife to someone. It was something that I never imagined in my wildest dreams. I could hear the priest reading the mantras for the marriage ceremony. That meant that Siri was already there. I heard the priest call out for me. I stepped out of my room and saw the love of my life waiting for me to arrive. I was shocked to see Siri wearing a white shirt and dhoti. She had tied her hair up into a bun and had worn the traditional hat that grooms wear during a wedding. Which means other than for her, she looked like a proper groom. I just smiled and thanked my stars for getting such a wonderful and thoughtful person as a partner. The ceremony was completed and Siri tied the Mangalsutra around my neck and kept sindoor on my forehead. We were married, and I was a wife now. The ceremony ended late in the evening. We had dinner, and it was time for our first night as husband and wife. I could see the excitement and mischief in Siri's eyes and inside. I was equally excited to lose myself. As per tradition, we decided that we would stay at my house for 2 days, and then would shift out to our new house and new life in another city. Siri had managed to get her transfer and also found a house for us to stay. Just like every other newlywed bride, I had a glass of milk in my hand and entered our bedroom. Siri was waiting for me in there. She was still in her shirt and dhoti and smiled at me naughtily when I entered the room. I shyly handed over the glass to my husband. She drank half of it and returned the glass to me. I drank the remaining milk and kept the glass aside. She asked me to sit beside her, and I did as she asked. She came close and held my chin and lifted my face up to see hers. After looking at me for a few moments, she kissed me. It was a long and hungry kiss, and at the end of which, both of us were grasping for breath. Then she started kissing down cheeks, earlobes, neck and shoulders. In the next 2 days at my house, we made love to each other multiple times, and each time was better than the last. Now it was time for us to move out of our respective apartments. It took us both a few days to pack all the stuff in Siri's house, and I packed all my female clothes. As planned, I took a few of my mother's clothes and wrote a small note for them, saying my thanks and goodbye to them. After a few hours of travel, we reached our new house to start our new life together. We unloaded all our stuff and arranged the house over the course of few days. Siri also settled into her job at the new location. I was a complete woman now, taking care of the entire house and satisfying my dear husband. From being a son who was ignored by his parents to being loved as a woman by her husband. My transformation and journey is something that I had never dreamed in my entire life. The end.